Right, well, Merry Christmas and season's greetings to all. And thank you, as always, for your positive and very welcome feedback about ShrimpNet, the podcast of the Shrimps Trust. Join us this week to discuss all the latest on and off the field at the Mazuma. We have the babysitting boardroom tour de force, Charlie Appleyard. Welcome along, Charlie.
Evening, guys.
And making his second appearance on ShrimpNet, so he must have drawn the very, very short straw. And he's missing out on watching live football. It's midfield maestro, Jake Taylor. Thanks for joining us, Jake.
No worries. Good evening.
So, where do we start? The usual format. We'll start with our game last Saturday. A 2-1 defeat at Plymouth. Now, I was watching this from afar on iFollow. You tell me you were there, Joel, and Jake, you were there because you were playing in it. I thought they were a bloody good side. I thought they had pace all over the place and high pressed, and I thought they were probably one of the best sides I've seen this season. Discuss, Joel.
Yeah, I'd agree. I thought we started with some good positive intent. You know, we were pressing high and created a few little openings, had a couple of shots from range, you know, forced them to boot out of play a couple of times. Maybe didn't quite make the most of those moments, but they're a good team. They're top of the table for a reason. They're going to be hard to break down at points, and they've got a very, very good keeper sitting behind the defence as well. You know, I think we'll touch on this more later, but it was essentially the battle of the two best keepers in the division. And then I think Derek touched on Michael Edwards getting a chance coming off the right hand side. He just got broke through and got a 1-on-1, and that seemed to kind of swing momentum. And just looking back on the game, I think that sounds about right. You know, that kind of midpoint of the first half did seem to be a bit of a turning point. After which they just kind of got their backs up. I think they knew that they were looking at, and I think they knew that a win would put them in a good position to go top potentially. So you could tell. I mean, I related back to when we got promoted. You know, that kind of aura we had when we were just quite confident we were going to win and just keep driving. And I think when you're in that kind of mood, Plymouth really really flow from there, and they were really good. I don't think we went out with any negative intent. I just thought they were really, really good in the day. Barley Mumba down the left in the first half, right in the second half, he was fantastic. Danny Mayer in midfield. You know,
no surprise there.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the spins he was doing to get away from our players, you know, it was really good. And Niall Ennis up front, he got man of the match, and deservedly so. He was fantastic. He had a bit of everything, bit of pace, bit of skill.
Welcome podcast, not Plymouth podcast.
But I've got to analyse the game, and that's what I saw in front of me. A team playing really, really well, and it was difficult. You know, it was difficult to play against them, and I think sometimes that's what happens. And on the day, I don't think we can deny that the better team won, but we'll come up against easier teams this season, thankfully.
Yeah, and I think while it's disappointing to travel 660 miles and come back with nothing, I think 32 shots against 8 tells you all you need to know, Charlie. But I want to chat a little bit about, there was a chance Jensen Weir had a curling shot, which the keeper did well to save at 0-0. And then arguably we scored the goal of the game.
Jensen Weir's got a really good chance. Must say, just as an aside, Jake, be very, very careful, mate, the next few weeks. The curse of the podcast. Basically, you came on last time, got injured straight away. Gibbo came on 3 weeks ago, was out after that. Cooney came on last time with an absolute nightmare against that guy on Saturday. Yeah. So be very, very careful, my friend. Be very, very careful.
It's not us. It's a curse. It's just not us.
Yeah. I thought we did okay, really. But even Cosgrove, you see Cosgrove scored on Saturday. He scored a hat-trick against his old club Wimbledon last night. Obviously on good form, but 2-1 again. We did okay, I think, but it's a long way to go, and must be pretty frustrating at the moment for everyone.
I repeat, I think they're probably up there with the best I've seen this season. The way they played at home, their front. Particularly 2 wide men and the centre forward, they all had pace to burn. And Jake, that must have been, it was a pretty tricky game to play in, because the simple fact is, but they had lots of the ball, they moved it very quickly. We competed pretty well, But and as I said, you were involved in the goal, just keeping it, and then dragging him out. And I still maintain we did score the goal of the game, but obviously, and a little bit. What was the feeling in the dressing room about the injury time penalty shout for Cole, Jake?
I've not seen it back, but the initial thought that it was a penalty, and Cole was adamant that he did get brought down. But I think the referees in the league, it's going to be hard for him to give that for us, in front of a home support. But looking at it from my point of view, from behind him, it looked like he'd got dragged down. But I don't think we've had any sniff of any penalty this season. And we've had an awful lot against us as well. So,
there's the Dachshund. There's Sky.
Yeah, apologies.
Pick her up. Pick her up. It's okay. Pick her up. It's fine. If she wants to she obviously wants to take part in the podcast. So we've got to let her do it.
I don't know why the missus always buys them these squeaky balls. I don't know why she does it. Yeah, as I was saying, yeah. Well, we did thought it was a penalty, and Cole thought he's got hard done by. So, but that's just kind of the look that we're having at the minute, and hopefully, it starts turning for us, because we could do it with a penalty here and there just to, boost confidence, really.
And the one against us, and this was, like I say, only from obviously you were there, Joel, and you were watching it, Jake, you're there. He when I watched it back, and believe you me, it wasn't Plymouth do their own TV. They don't do iFollow, and they do Plymouth TV. And the only thing I want to tell you about it is every shot they had, all 32 of them, they showed you the replay 4 times. Jensen Weir's shot they didn't show again, and our goal they didn't show again. So I believe you when I tell you, when they gave the penalty, I was like, "Oh, I'm not so sure." And I watched. They showed it 3 more times, and he was going down before Jacob even got there. He just touched the ball and started falling, so that he fell into Jake. But that's just the way it is. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't, Jake.
Exactly, and I think on the day he was influenced by the crowd, in my opinion. Obviously, any little touch on their player, the fans are going to get on the referee's back and force a decision. I think he kind of bottled that one, to be honest with you, and folded under the pressure. But it's just maybe we've got to be a bit cuter in situations like that as well.
Yeah, right.
Referee decisions to make, and be a bit cuter on that side. But like I say, that it was a very soft penalty in my opinion.
And I want to come to I want to come to see if Anthony O'Connor's been giving the strikers any lessons this week on turning and finishing in the box, because when we scored, obviously it was a 20-pass move, and it was really, really nice football. We were patient, and we went and created that gap overlap down the left and got the crossing. And when I saw it was Anthony O'Connor, I was like, oh bloody hell, he scored. So a great goal, Joel.
Yeah, fantastic goal. I think, it was a funny one, just moving the ball around a little bit, try and probe a little bit here and there. Maybe Plymouth sat off a little bit because they were 2-0 up, as you do at that point in the game. And then just a nice ball over the top. I think it's Melbourne down the left wing. Good to see him coming back. And I think he's done all right in the last couple of games when he's come on and added that kind of bit of attacking thrust from left wing back, which is quite good at. And then scud it back across nicely. I think the first touch from O'Connor as well. I think he sells his man, goes around the outside, and then kind of gets caught with his back to goal and the turn and finish. It's straight out of a striker's playbook, really.
So I'm fully expecting him this week, Jake, to be going, "Here, Cole, here, Kieran, give it here. I'll show you."
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him if he did, to be fair. It was a great finish. Obviously, like you mentioned, the first touch really created him that space, and he took it really well, to be fair. And I know it was only 5 minutes to go, but we had the confidence then to go up the other end, and obviously had that shout for the penalty, and it could have nipped a draw by the end of it. But no, like you say, it was a great finish from Ant, and I might be taking some notes from him, to be honest.
Yeah, good. So we're approaching the festive season. Obviously, the game's coming thick and fast, and it's always a tricky time for footballers, because obviously you want to balance your sort of family commitments with obviously the fact that you've got to sort of watch what you eat, etc., etc. Apart from Ryan Cooney, obviously. we had him on last time, and he said, I like my food. What can I say? So I was like, oh well, Ryan will have a Christmas dinner. But anyway, so yeah, it's a strange time for footballers because obviously we've got games thick and fast, 26th, 29th, and then 2nd of January. And obviously in our sort of like predicament at the moment, every point is really, really, really important. So as do you know yet? Has Derek got you in on Christmas Day?
Yeah, we're in Christmas Day.
Oh,
Yeah,
I knew that was happening. I knew that was there because he has got a history of doing that, Jake. I must be honest. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, but he might buy you all presents. You don't know.
hopefully.
So,
But no, it's part and parcel of the job, I suppose. Played under managers that like the day off themselves, and I've also on the other hand, I've played under managers that get us in, and it's just a normal working day. So this year he's got us in, and we'll be working hard towards the Port Vale game. And
obviously, yeah, you've said it, Port Vale. So some vested interest there. Obviously, you having a large successful part of your career there. So it's quite a big day on Boxing Day because we could do with improving our away record, Joel.
Yeah, definitely. I think this little run of games. I know I was listening to Derek's interview with the club on the radio, and obviously, understandably, he doesn't like to get drawn in this thing because you're talking about other clubs, and it feels a bit disrespectful, and you don't want to kind of overhype certain games. But ultimately, it's a run of fixtures that are kind of quite close together. You can maybe build a little bit of momentum. And I think compared to some of the little runs we've had earlier this season, considering we've had, Derby, Ipswich and Plymouth all over the past couple of months, having Port Vale, who in fairness have done very well this season, they're mid-table. And then after that, we've got Accrington and Burton, and then the following.
Well, yeah, we've got a list. I've got written down here. Did a bit of prep work for the first time. But then we've got Port Vale, Accrington, Burton, Cheltenham, Port Vale at home, Ipswich away, and Bristol Rovers at home. 5 home games, 3 away games.
Yeah.
It's basically just a real shame that the Charlton game got frozen off.
Yeah.
If we could have got a good positive result against Charlton, I mean, I don't know if he scores Charlton's goals last week against Bristol Rovers. Absolutely shocking defending. We could have got, if we just got 3 extra points, a bit of confidence in going to these games. It's be a really, really good situation. But these 8 games coming up before the end of January are pretty pivotal, aren't they?
They are, and strangely, just a positive result at Port Vale. Maybe away from home you take a point, and then actually consolidating and getting some luck against Accrington, and maybe getting something against Burton, and all of a sudden you could find yourself quite easily sort of like catching up with 5th from bottom, which is. I mean, there's so many games to go, Jake. It's ridiculous to say, oh, we're doomed. But, from that point of view, we do need to get wins because we're quite adept at getting draws, but we seem to be struggling with the wins, don't we?
We do, as obviously the league table shows. But I think, there's been many games this year where, there's games we've drawn and we really should have won. And it's just, that's the draws are probably what cost us points, and that's probably one of the main reasons why we're obviously on the points tally we are. Like you say, we do need to be picking up more wins. And obviously the Christmas period is a great chance to do that because the games come thick and fast, and it's all guns blazing really. And hopefully we can start that on Boxing Day against Vale, and hopefully get a run going and kick on.
So what do you think of my idea of you texting your ex-colleagues at Port Vale on Christmas Day to wish them a Merry Christmas and saying just have an extra roast potato and some extra turkey and some mince pies and some Christmas pudding because we're rubbish. You'll easily beat us tomorrow. Do you think that'd work?
I doubt it. I think most of the lads there are pretty professional, to be fair. So I think they'll eat quite a bit, to be fair, but I think they're quite sensible.
But there's one game we missed out there, Freez. So 28 games before the end of Jan, should get 21 points pretty easily. But there's the curse of Cambridge aways in there as well.
Oh, well, they'll get a penalty, won't they? Because they always get a penalty against those Cambridge. Particularly there.
If you look at that run of fixtures, we could really turn it around. We really could.
We could be mid-table by end of January, Charlie. Yeah?
Well, at least it's not playoffs.
Well, I was looking at
Positivity.
the, I was looking at that Derek turnaround actually the other week that you mentioned just before the Plymouth game. I think it was after
All right.
20 games in his first season in League One with Plymouth. He was on 17 points, and after 20 games, we were on 15 points. So, and I think he turned it around. And it was something ridiculous. He got something like, can't remember exactly what it was, but it was about 60 points in the second. No, it was about 50 points in the second half of the season.
And they just missed out on the
And
play.
they actually missed out. They could have actually gotten in. They lost the last 2 games of the season. So, it does show you. I don't think. I mean, to us, we don't need a turnaround that massive. We only need basically the form of a decent mid-table team to get out of between now and the end of the season to get out of the relegation zone. But yeah, it does show you that these things do turn around, and we've had a few injuries over these first few months of the season. You know, things haven't quite been given the opportunity to gel. There was a fair bit of squad turnover as well, and I think these things take time to settle. I'll mention the C word again, continuity. That's what Port Vale have had over the past couple of seasons with keeping the same man. They've had the same manager and the kind of core of the squad to build around. And I think when I keep saying it, but when you're a club like the size of ours competing against your Ipswiches and your Plymouth, the thing that you can achievably do better than them a lot of the time is continuity. And unfortunately, you know, with managerial changes, that's not been able to happen over the past couple of years. But hopefully we are able to fight through it this season and start kind of really building that core of a side.
And as we head into the, like you say, the busy sort of fixtures that are coming up, and Charlie mentioned the ones that are coming up there, it is a good time, as you've already said. Max Melbourne's come back and played a part. And obviously, Jake, you yourself, a bloody awful injury for you, which just as you were finding your feet, really, and it's sort of set you back a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of the way it goes, really. When you obviously get in a run of games, you get in that sort of match fitness, and then you go down with an hamstring injury. Like I say, it weren't ideal, but you know, I suppose that's, you know, part and parcel of football. You're going to pick up injuries, and hopefully now I can just get a run of games where, you know, I stay injury free and get that sharpness back.
And that's been the like I say, that's been the tale, because obviously. I don't know. I don't know. I'll ask Charlie. What's the progress with Ash Hunter? Because obviously he might be back January, maybe.
He's training again, isn't he? With the Ollie, but he's not back till February, Derek said.
Right. So they were hoping it was going to be January, so it's obviously been set back a bit, which is a shame. But like you say, we've got more choices now. We have a stronger bench than we've probably had all season, Jake.
We've got a bench.
Yeah, we have got a bench. Yeah, I mean, you turn the negatives into a positive, and Adam May was brought in through necessity, and has now earned himself a professional contract because he's done absolutely brilliant. So you know, you put it into perspective and think, well, that wouldn't have happened if everybody had been fit, would it, Jake? So.
No, exactly, and especially for a young lad, that's, you know, the chance that you're hoping for. Maybe a lack of form, a suspension, and injuries in our cases, and then it's up to you, you know, your young lads to go and take your chance. And Adam's done that really, really well. To be fair, he's come in and been really good. But no, that's all it takes, and you know, it's like you say, you've turned a negative into a positive. Absolutely. So
looking at you, you've just come back, like you say, from that awkward hamstring injury, and you've been available. We've got yourself as the sort of like elder statesman in midfield, because you're alongside Jensen and Liam most of the time, and obviously those two are sort of like fairly wet behind the ears. And what's it been like playing with those two? Because obviously me and Joel have been saying for weeks we can't wait for the three of you to get all fit and get back together, because like we think we can, you know, the three of you can make a difference.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, to be fair. You know, Liam and Gents are really good young players. Obviously eager to learn, and you know, really taking the opportunity to play games here at Morecambe. And no, they've been really good for us, to be fair. Like I say, the two good lads, two good players. But no, I've enjoyed playing with him, and like you say, we need to all stay fit and get a run of games together and start, clicking as a midfield.
And I think looking at it, and we discuss this every week. It is no secret. Our goals for column is the problem, Joel, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think it's been tricky. I think there's been a little bit of a mix. I think early in the season there were kind of moments where maybe if a couple had been tucked away, it would have just given us a bit of that positive momentum and confidence to finish them off. And then, but yeah, it's tricky. And I think in the final third, it's a bit of a truism, but obviously scoring goals is the hardest thing. And learning a relationship with your teammates to kind of be able to unlock defenses at this level, it's something that takes time. And obviously with the injuries and the disruptions, that doesn't make it any easier. But I think we have seen in recent weeks that we are starting to create a bit more. I think Plymouth was a really tough game, and after about 30 minutes, it was a bit of a struggle to create. But in the game preceding that, I think we were definitely creating a bit more. I kind of see Ipswich as a bit of a turning point in the season. Since then, I think I do feel like the performance levels have been a bit consistently a little bit higher. So yeah, I think it's just a case of people coming back from injuries and hopefully being able to gel a bit more and just get that kind of fluency to be able to really break down teams in the final third.
And I'll come back to what Jake said before, because we've been in recent months, we've been competing pretty well. Like you said, from the Ipswich game onwards, there's maybe only Sheffield Wednesday in the cup where we sort of didn't look really our best. We've competed really well. It's been the odd goal defeat. And what does that get you down in the dressing room, or do you just think sooner or later? I mean, and I said this last time, Barry Roach was convinced somebody soon's going to get a tonking. Everything we hit's going to go in because it's due to, and I agree with that. Unfortunately, I voiced that before the Exeter game, and we didn't have many chances that game, so I'm not going to say that again. But what's it like in the dressing room? Is there a sort of disappointment we're not coming away with? We're not turning these chances into goals, or do you just think it's a question of carrying on doing the same things and it'll fall?
It has been frustrating, especially in certain games. Take the Portsmouth one for example, where the lads perform really well, and they're the games that I've mentioned that them draws they've got to be turned into wins. It does get you down, like anything would if you're bottom of the table, you're not winning the games that you maybe should be. But like I say, you just got to keep the faith, keep positive, and hopefully it'll turn in our favour. And like you say, we might give someone a tonking soon.
Well, I sincerely, I hope it's just soon, because I think it'd do. Personally, I think it'd do wonders for the entire squad, because you seem to be fairly together, but every time it's got to be difficult. And we discussed this with Ryan, and we discussed this with Gibbo. It's understandable if you're like. You play pretty well for half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that, and then they took a chance away against you, and it's got to be hard to keep your heads up, hasn't it?
It is, yeah, but that's just the nature of football, unfortunately. You've just got to keep focusing, believe in each other, and believe in what we're doing. But like you say, there's been games where we've done really well, and like the Exeter game, for example, we got ahead and then they equalised straight away. And they're the games, maybe we've got to be cuter in certain aspects, either if that's defending or, even offensively as well. We've just got to be a bit cute in them situations. But no, we've just got to keep, trusting each other, and hopefully, we can get some wins on the board.
Joel, I'll hand Jake over to you.
Yeah, just going back to the kind of the attacking side of things, I think when we've had Derek on before, and when we've spoken to kind of other attackers and attacking midfielders, I think the impression we get is a lot of Derek likes to give attacking players a lot of freedom in the final third and just kind of have that thing. And so what I would ask is that still the case? And from that, do you find that you need a bit of time to just kind of gel and learn each other's patterns and kind of mannerisms in play?
It is still the case, but you've got to obviously work within a system as well. You can't just go off and, if I'm playing right wing, I can't stand, on the left side of the pitch. You've got to work within the system. But no, it's it's about just about getting them relationships again, like you say. Getting used to. I know it's been a few months now, but like you say, the injuries have not helped. Obviously, missing Ash, who was playing at the start of the season, because you start to develop a relationship between the players you're playing with, and then new ones come in, and then you've got to get used to their game. So it's taking a little bit of time. But hopefully with everyone getting back now, we can start clicking and scoring more goals, because I think that's something we've got to start doing.
So yeah, obviously we've got a bit of a few games to hopefully be able to do that over the Christmas period. So with these kind of short turnaround in games, is that something that you quite like to have, or is it a bit of a gruel?
I'd rather it than say the week we've had where it's a 10-day break, or before that when it was the Charlton one when it got postponed. So you get a week's gone, you've got no game, 2 weeks. You want to start rolling off the games. It is grueling, I'll be honest, but I think you'd rather that than postponements here and there.
I guess it's kind of like relates to kind of finding your rhythm, because I think, as I'm sure you probably know better than most, obviously being injured for the past couple of months, it knocks a bit of a rhythm out of you. And I know a few other players have said this. Do you find you kind of hit your best form when you are able to kind of swing into that rhythm and get that sharpness back?
Exactly, that's it. And I felt that I was getting to a certain point before the hamstring injury. But obviously, you can't help it if you pick up an injury here and there. It's just part and parcel of the game. But hopefully, I can, get a few games now and get that sharpness back, because like any player will tell you, you need games. You can do all the training and all the rehab stuff you like to gain just natural fitness, but it's nothing like actual match fitness and that match sharpness, not just in your legs, but in your head as well.
So with those kind of short turnarounds, is there any particular little routine that you like to have to kind of recover in time for the next game?
Just your usual stuff: eating right, sleeping, obviously ice baths, compression garments, all the usual stuff, just to give you the best chance and make you feel as 100% as you possibly can. You're never going to be 100% going into games where it's Saturday, Tuesday, or in this case every 3 days. But you've just got to be a level of professionalism, and that gives you the best chance to obviously feel as good as you possibly can.
But I bet ice baths are quite fun at this time of year.
Any time of year, they're not nice. 40 degrees, they'd still be horrible.
I know, yeah, true. Yeah, I imagine. So I think it's been a good few months now. You've been in League One. So what are you kind of finding are the main differences between this level and League Two?
I'd say apart from maybe the top 8 teams, not a lot in terms of competitiveness or quality wise, if you don't want to say. I think the top 8 above are very, very could easily, I think, cope maybe in bottom half of the championship quality wise. I think they keep the ball better than probably teams in League Two do, or probably the bottom half of League One. Probably that's the biggest difference. But I think we've competed well, and that's a testament to ourselves. And hopefully, like you say, you can move that forward and turn some games into wins.
Yeah, because it's been interesting watching us kind of compete against. Because I think you're right. A lot of those players in those top sides, like your Ipswiches and your Derbys, I know he didn't play against us, but Derby have got Conor Horahan, that midfield pairing for Ipswich, Morsey and Evans, Sheffield Wednesday, obviously Barry Bannon. There's some serious players for this level. So I think if we look at our performances against them, they've been quite snappy and at them. And when you play teams and players like that, and they come with a bit of a reputation, does that almost kind of fire you up and give you a bit of a lift towards kind of raising your game to them?
It does, and I think this season we've probably performed better against the top teams. Like the Derbys and the Portsmouths, even Sheffield Wednesday at home before, obviously the couple set piece goals. We've competed really well. It does give you an added boost when you're coming up against the likes of Barry Bannon, who's obviously played at the highest level, Conor Horahan likewise. But I wouldn't say like you differentiate any games. You wouldn't say, oh, I'm gonna be more up for Derby than I would say, you know, up for Cheltenham. You know, you just go into every game with the same mindset. But no, I think, like I said, I think we've competed really well against the top 8, top 10 teams.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think we've seen that, especially over these past couple of months since that Ipswich game. I think one of the other patterns that might be emerging a little bit as well is it feels like our home performances are a bit stronger than the away ones. And is that something that you feel is natural, or is there something about the home support, or maybe like the traveling to different grounds and kind of in uncomfortable environments that you feel might be making a bit of a difference?
It's always harder to play away from home. I think most teams would say the same. It's, you know, unfamiliar surroundings. Obviously, fans are probably 90% against you. So it is. I'd say it is more difficult to play away from home. But you know, you've got great opportunities to go and play at the likes of, you know, Hillsborough and Portman Road at this level, and play against some good teams. So, you know, usually it is harder to play away from home, like I've said. But you know, we've got to make our home form a little bit better as well, and make our place a little bit more of a fortress.
All right, interesting stuff. Cheers. Back to you, Freeze.
So, before we move on to discuss the upcoming fixtures, I don't think we can let Connor Ripley pass without speaking about what's going on there, because as you alluded to there, Joel, their guy cut inside after about 25 minutes and had a fantastic shot, which Connor read all the way and pushed away, and then made save after save after save. And obviously the penalty, a well-struck penalty, headed arrowed for the bottom corner. He hit it really well. Baz has obviously done his own work with the penalty taker, and Connor knew which way to go, went down on his line, saved it brilliantly, etc., etc., etc. And he's you know, standing on the home terrace and the Barty card behind the goal. People were saying after 4 or 5 games, "Oh, I don't know about," because obviously we had Trevor last year and he was fantastic. Oh, I'm not sure about Connor. I don't think there's anybody not sure about Connor now, because dear me, he's put in some fantastic performances, hasn't he, Joel?
Yeah, they've been brilliant. I think we can really see over these past couple of months, he's really settled down. He's playing in excellent form. I think it's something around 78% of penalties get scored. And so far this season, Connor has saved 80% of penalties. So that tells you how well he's doing. Yeah, so yeah, and I think as we saw against Plymouth, he's making lots of different kinds of saves. Like, you know, there's those horrible shots from range that bounce and skid really awkwardly in front of you. He's taken them very, very confidently. There's been reaction saves in the area. There's been one-on-ones. I think one-on-ones, a lot of it is obviously it's your reactions, but it's also about making the right decision, when to come out, how quickly to come out. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, actually, there's a guy called John Harrison on Twitter who's done this kind of big study about like best techniques for 1v1s, and I think Connor seems to nail it every time. So yeah, he's obviously in really good form at the moment, and you wonder if now it's at the point where like people are going to take a penalty against him, thinking, "Oh Christ, it's that fella who's saved 4 out of 5 this season." You know, he's starting to get a bit of a almost like in the way that Emi Martinez has now got a reputation as quite a big penalty saver. I think, well, Connor's record's even better than Martinez's, so you know, people are bound to get a little bit intimidated by that. So yeah, hopefully it'll keep up for the rest of the season.
And there was one particular save at Lincoln 3 weeks ago, where I was watching it on iFollow, and the home crowd and both commentators thought it was in, and he just stuck out a paw and tipped it over the bar. And I was like, dear Lord, that was some save. Really brilliant. And that's going to be great. When you see Connor in that sort of form behind you, Jake, that's going to put you in a sort of better place where like, well, we can get something from this game. Yeah,
for sure. He's probably been overused, to say it politely, especially with the penalties as well. You know, some of the penalties that have been given against us on another day, they don't get given. But he can only do his job and stop them from going in there. And he's been, like you say, he's been brilliant the last, month or so. Obviously been rewarded with Player of the Month for League One. But hopefully we can help him out and, keep him less busy in the next games.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, I don't want to talk about him next time, Charlie. I want to talk about our strikers knocking goals in.
Yeah,
That
it's
would
a
be
shame he's so quiet and quiet on the pitch and lacking confidence. If we can sort that out, it'll be all right.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, he's a bit of a wallflower, isn't he, Connor? He needs to.
Yeah.
Needs to
That's what the worst game of the whole season. MK Dons away in the Carabao Cup. There was about 7 fans in there. He's so bloody loud, isn't he, Jake? He swears so. Everyone swears so much as well. He's so on everyone.
They
It's
all do.
crazy.
Keepers are just a different breed, aren't they?
It's unbelievable.
Love the sound of their own voice.
Sorry, what?
New fixtures coming up, Freeze?
Say again.
Forthcoming fixtures?
Yes, yeah, we'll talk about Accrington now. 29th, always an interesting one, Accrington. It doesn't seem to matter where they are in the league and where we are in the league. It doesn't seem to matter what their form's like and our form is like. And it doesn't seem to matter what we play like during the game. Somehow, somewhere, they manage to get us and get 3 points. And it's one of them where it's like, oh, what do we have to do? And I take
3-3 last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, case in point.
3-3 and 2-2. No,
yeah, two draws, which I'll take. And obviously I don't want to take a draw at home. I'd have taken a point at theirs when we were down to 10 men and it was 0-0. But obviously, things changed, didn't they, as per usual. And Accrington were obviously very nice to us because they decided to score an own goal for us. So at the time, Jake was joint top scorer, OG, but anyway, never mind. But that, looking at that game there to go back on, they didn't look great. We didn't look great. And it just basically went down to getting Arthur sent off. And that's where we were, Joel.
Yeah, I think looking at they've been unfortunate with injuries. It's not with injuries, with transfers in the summer. They've lost a pretty big spine of their team in Ross. I think it's Ross Sykes, Cam Burgess, and Colby Bishop. So it is a struggle, but that's kind of reality for a lot of clubs at our end of the division. It's difficult. We're going to have some of our best players taken in the summer, but they're down at the bottom of the table. I know people back John Coleman to be able to be a manager to get him out of it because he's done it before, but you never know. And they're around us in the table. They're a team that we can get up. We know what they're going to be about. They're going to hit the ball direct quite a lot. We're going to be able to cope with that, and I think hopefully we will be able to and finally get 3 points against Accrington because it's been a bit of a while, hasn't it?
And keeping 11 on the pitch would be a good start, Charlie.
I was thinking back to that Jake said about this. I still can't believe Arthur got banned for so long for that. The challenge, wasn't it, when he went on his elbow, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny. You watch the Football League show on ITV and you see worse than that, and they've given a yellow, and it's like, well,
you meet Arthur. He's the quietest, most unassuming, the least aggressive man in the whole of Morecambe Football Club, if not League One. It's ridiculous. It
is. You're right, but I mean, you have to live with that decision. And like you say, we did appeal it. We didn't get anywhere, and that's
exactly like Mick will say, just to let you know, we're appealing it. We're all like,
yeah, I know. It's like
you know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was upheld. So no.
Yeah, exactly. So that you get punished for appealing, don't you? But
yeah.
But Aki being on the 29th, it's a nice game between Christmas and New Year because the simple fact is that 7:45? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, I thought so. So being a 7:45, a night match between Christmas and New Year, there'll be loads of people there. Be a great atmosphere because obviously us and Aki being sort of fairly local rivals, we came up together from the Lancashire Combination, Northern Premier League, Vauxhall Conference as was, National League as is now, and League Two, and now we find ourselves playing in League One together. So we've got a massive history, Jake. And does that come across to the players? Do you think, oh, this is a bit special?
It does, yeah, and you could feel that obviously in the away fixture that we played earlier on in the season. To be fair, as a new player, that's one of the first things you ask. Who's the? Because obviously Morecambe's obviously a city in its town in its own right, and obviously don't share a town with anyone. So you say who's the local rivals, and that's that's the first answer you get. Stanley and Fleetwood, who are pretty local as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good game. Obviously, a good atmosphere. They always are, derbies, and we owe them one. So hopefully we can get the 3 points in that.
Yeah, well said. We do owe one. We owe them more than one, Jake, to be truthful.
A testament to them, they survived to the second season. Andy Holt said to me and James before, they survived the second season in League One, which was really, really difficult. You have a massive halo effect and good feeling in the first season. Second season brought back down to earth massively. We'll try and survive. And if you can survive 2 and then maybe and then reset for the third one, then you can be in 5-6 years like they've done. So what we're trying to do is survive in League One, emulate what they've done.
Yeah, consolidation would be good. And to be honest with you, it doesn't look beyond us. It really doesn't, because like I keep saying, yes, we're not picking up the points, but we're not getting. It's one goal every game, and it's just now frustrating. But I look back to we look back to Plymouth. Fair enough, they were pretty good. But I look back to Lincoln. I look back to Cheltenham. And I'm like, that's a 1-goal defeat where it was like, it's so near yet so far. And strangely enough, following on from that, and another segue, we move into the Burton game on the 2nd of January. We managed to salvage a point there, and there was nothing in that game that day, Joel, when we got a 1-1 draw at Burton. So, yes, they'll be fired up, and Dino Mamry will have them sort of like charging around like bulls in china shops, but they are beatable.
We smashed them last year.
Yeah, exactly. We did well against them last year. I think they are beatable. I think we saw that they were beatable when we played them, but we didn't play well enough to beat them on the day, I don't think. And I think a point was probably fair. I'd say that's actually probably one of the few times this season we've actually been a little bit lucky with the refereeing decision when Liam Shaw went hurtling in on one of their players, which is quite funny. But, it's nice for one decision to go in our favour at some point. But, yeah, hopefully we won't need a screamer from Ryan Delaney to bail us out, which I have to say was quite surprising. I was just about to shout, you just think, you don't shoot from there, Ryan, come on. But, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to beat them a bit more comfortably this time.
And Liam Shaw went hurtling into the 2-footed the advertising boards with his legs stuck, didn't he?
Yeah, no, yeah. I think it fell on him, didn't it? Yeah, the advertising board. I think he was able to make the next game, but yeah, imagine if we put Liam Shaw out for a while because everybody got overexcited and pushed the advertising board onto him. He could, blame Ryan Delaney for a big long knee slide.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking then, because it was a bit like the Anthony O'Connor one at Plymouth. And when I looked twice, and that was bloody hell, that was Delaney. What's he doing with that? But hey, we'll take them wherever they come from. But there you go. But yeah, as you said, Charlie, we did well against Burton last year. So perhaps we might have the Indian sign on them. You never know.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these fixtures again. Port Vale away, Aberystwyth at home, Burton at home, Cheltenham at home, Cambridge away, Port Vale at home, Ipswich away, Bristol Rovers at home. It's all on that, isn't it? See how we get on.
Yeah, Bristol Rovers is a strange one though. They've sort of shot up the table, haven't they? Just on the periphery of the playoffs now.
Yeah. Jim Bentley finds, in fairness, for that one. Aaron Collins, doing very, very well. And, talented player.
But
let's see where we are on 28th of January at 5 o'clock. Let's see where we are then.
Right, I like your confidence.
Yeah, well, you got to be confident, haven't you?
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah, and there's plenty of points to play for, Jake, isn't there? Come on, there's we're not even halfway through yet. I mean, obviously, by the time we get to Burton, we'll just about be halfway through. But people say that the leagues sort themselves out after 12 games, but there's always 1 or 2 teams who come good in the new year, and there's always 1 or 2 teams who can't get arrested after New Year. Which one are we going to be?
Hopefully, the one that gets going after New Year.
Good answer.
I wish I'm confident we will. To be honest,
I do think that Jake probably. I don't know if you agree with this, Jake, but if you look at you probably just level out after these 8 games, because if we've got these 8 games now of allegedly easier standard, we must have had a bloody nightmare fixture list so far for the first 21 games. I mean, we've got a lot of not saying they're easy games, but more winnable games in the next 5 or 6. In the last 10, 15, we must have had some. We had Plymouth away, all those sorts of difficult games to take stock of. So it probably will be a bit more of a realistic league table after these 8, I think.
Yeah, I'd say the same. And I think you probably heard the manager say that we're in a mini league of our own, down at the bottom. No one expects us to go to Sheffield Wednesday or Ipswich or, and go and beat them. But we need to take points off the teams that are in and around us. Like you say, the next 8 games, it gives us a great chance to do that. Starting on Boxing Day, and we need to start picking up wins. But like you say, I think we've only played 21 games, something like that. Not even halfway through. So there's a lot of football to be played yet, and we're looking forward to it, and start picking up some wins hopefully.
And whether it be right or not, but the long-range weather forecast has come back that the new year's going to go cold again. We're going to have another cold snap, and that affects fixtures because obviously we lost the Charlton game. Other people gained a foothold and got points because they were playing, and other teams slipped back because they didn't. And that's what I was looking at the weather this morning, and there was 2 different weather things saying, yeah, it's going to go. It was a -17 in Aberdeenshire on New Year's Day, and I'm like, whoa. So that definitely affects the situation, Joel, doesn't it? Because there'll be teams playing 3 games. If they've got cup commitments, they'll be playing 3 games a week into sort of March and April, and that'll take its toll.
Yeah, possibly. I think it's just one of those where we have to wait and see. Really, I think to be honest, probably most of the teams around us are probably going to be out of the cup competitions by this point. I'd have to check that, but probably not going to be having too many teams left. But yeah, it's one of those with the weather. You just got to kind of keep your fingers crossed and hope the fixtures fall in a nice way and that they don't get too congested for ourselves.
We should be all right when we go to Pride Park. They've got undersoil eating, so I was quite surprised Plymouth didn't actually.
It's quite expensive, I think. But...
Yeah, it probably is. But I mean, Plymouth got 14,000 on Saturday for crying out loud. So anyway, there you go. What do I know? Right, so come to Charlie with the club news. What's happening, Charlie? Anything? Nothing? Any updates? Any updates on the situation?
I've got a list.
Good lad.
First of all, the Christmas party yesterday. Did you go, Jake?
We did, yeah. We did go.
It was really, really good. Thank you very much to the players and the management there. Really well attended. Found a Santa from somewhere. I don't know what his name, what his background was, but the 1 minute silence against Burton, everyone knows, for people who've lost in the last year. So remembering people who have died in the last year. It's been too many this year, sadly. Real shame we missed out on the women's game on the 11th of December, and obviously the Charlton fixture the day before. But you're well up for that, when you, Jake, ready to go for that game. Cancelled.
We was looking forward to that.
Obviously affects the momentum of the women's football support, and obviously the gate receipts and the re-race for Tuesday isn't great for the club's money either. But that was a shame. Water, is it back on in Morecambe now?
Yeah. We've got running water, and we never lost it in Heysham because I'm very fortunate. We live in Heysham at the top of the hill, and apparently I'm reliably informed by United Utilities that they wouldn't switch the water off in Heysham because it switched it off to the power station, and you can't do it.
But overall, we're it's tough at the moment, right? Tough for everyone, all the staff, the players, directors, everyone with the uncertain situation with the sale of the club. It's not easy for anyone because obviously it makes people feel uncomfortable. You don't know where you're going to be, but everyone's trying their best possible. Everyone's motivated. We're just trying to get through it and make sure it's all goes. We can get some sort of transaction going in the next 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully.
So it is right then that there are. When James came on 2 weeks ago, he did say that there was, shall we say, somebody's appeared out of the pack who seems to be a little bit more serious than the rest. That's still the case.
That's correct. Yeah, it's progressing with the EFL at the moment for all the checks. Remains to be seen whether that will go through, but you never know. But again, it's not really our call as the directors. We run the club best we can on the resources we've got. And it's frustrating. We've seen, I think we've seen the budgets. We haven't got the lowest budget in the league, but Ipswich is 11 million, I think.
Whoa.
11 million. Ours is 2.5. So we're up against this. People have a go at us for not beating Ipswich 4-0 at home. Well, there's your answer, really. So we're just trying our damnedest to do the best we possibly can do. And if we get a new owner who's got a bit more cash, more money to invest into the squad, into the club, then we'll be in a bright future. But it is uncertain, and it's uncomfortable for everyone, players and staff particularly, even for us as well. The Jameses, the Charlies, the Grahams that are dealing with these things. It's not easy. So it's
No.
we just need to try and get some wins on the board, please, Jake, to try and get everyone buzzing again.
No pressure.
We'll try our best. We'll try.
Is that good enough? Good enough explanation? What's going
Yeah,
on?
that is. Yeah, that's all I want, Charlie. Just an update.
I can't say too much, but hopefully it'll be sorted out in the next few weeks.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
if it's not sorted out in the next few weeks, there's lots of other interested parties behind these people. So
Yeah.
it's a great investment. No debt, really good opportunity, and we'll see how we go on. For free, I'm going to have to go, my friend.
Okay.
Babysitter duty. The wife just texted me probably to see all the boys in bed. They're not in bed. They're watching YouTube on the big TV. I'm going to get in trouble, so got to go.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah,
Christmas
you
Day.
too. Cheers, Charlie.
Joel, Dave, wish you all the best.
Yeah,
See you soon.
cheers, Charlie. See
Cheers,
you later.
Charlie. See you.
So, final thing, Shrimps Trust. On to
Yeah.
you. What have you got?
Yeah, just kind of echoing similar to what Charlie said about the success of the Christmas party. It went down really, really well. Obviously, the trust were providing the presents for the kids who turned up and hand them over. So yeah, it was a really nice occasion, really well attended, and like you said before, like great for the players to be able to get to come down and do some autographs and pictures with the kids and all that. And then finally, also the Charlton game saw the food bank collection suspended. I know, obviously, Paul Hodgson set up a Just Giving, which was really good to try and get someone to kind of help tick that over. But also, we're looking at trying to sort it for one of the other Christmas or New Year fixtures. I will need to double check if we've kind of got that sorted yet. But yeah, just keep an eye on Facebook, and we'll have some more details, or Twitter or whatever, and we'll have some more details on that pretty soon.
Okay. So, final question that I've got for Jake is your dad going on the coach to Port Vale?
No, I think he'll make his own way there, to be fair. It's only an hour from Manchester, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I was just thinking, surely he must have driven to Port Vale to watch you, so therefore he wouldn't be getting the coach. But
Yeah, he has done numerous times, so I think he'll make his own way just this one.
he'll probably have his own parking spot still, will he?
I don't know. They might have rubbed his name off now, but he'll double check for sure.
Yeah, true enough. Well, listen, thank you very much for taking part, Jake. It's been great. Have a good Christmas. Please, tell everybody, give everybody our best wishes in the dressing room, and if we could get a couple of wins between now and the Burton game, because there is only 2 games between now and the Burton game, then that'd be great.
We'll try our utmost, like always.
So this has been ShrimpNet 19 of the season. So we've done pretty well. We've made it to, next one will be the 5th of January. Thursday, the 5th of January, we'll record and get it out to you on Friday the 6th. And that'll be just before the Cheltenham game. So we'll have plenty to discuss then, because obviously we'll have 9 points out of 9. Jake will have scored in each of them, and Connor saved 14 pens. You heard it all here first. This has been ShrimpNet. Thanks for listening, and speak to you in the new year.